So I'm just kicking back. I'm in the bowling alley, rolling newspapers, just relaxing, enjoying life. And people are like, Drew, why do you want to do these? Use your purple glue sticks. I'm like, well, it looks pretty. Imagine if they were scented. If they smell like grape, it's gonna be a completely different story. I'm gonna tell you that. Hey everyone. While editing this video, I have come to the realization that it was going to be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. And due to some of the restrictions that YouTube has put forth, I'm just going to have to put things within parts. So this first one's going to be part one, and then shortly after I upload part one, I'm going to give y'all part two. And if need be, there'll be a part three. I'm just going to keep things going, just as life is. If life gives you lemons, you gotta make lemonade. Just saying. When it comes to my artwork, I don't hold back. I don't hold back any punches. I don't apologize. When it comes to this kind of stuff, it is what it is. That's because one day I'm gonna die. There's no redos, there's no retakes, there's no takebacks, there's no reset button. The day that I die, that's it. Just recently, I did this piece of artwork right here. Right here, it's a 3-in-1. When I call things a 3-in-1, that's what it is. It's 3 separate pictures all wrapped up in one. So as far as the main composition of how I do the 3-in-1s, there's the big picture. It has everything that encompasses the main idea. And then there's 2 smaller pictures within the whole. So I also have these 2 small ones. You have the big picture where you have the flowers, the leaves, and the grasshoppers. And then the smaller ones, you have the one with the flower. And then you have the other one with the grasshopper. All 3 of them match. They all color coordinate. For the 3-in-1 that I did last week, I wanted to challenge myself. A lot of the artwork that I've done in the past, I've noticed that I do a lot of things with cool colors. You know, I do a lot of things with the royal blues, the forest greens, the purples, the magentas, and then I mix it in with a little bit of white. I wanted to challenge myself this time around. You see these colors? Right here. You got red, you got pumpkin orange, and you got yellow, a bright, bright yellow that's just pow in your face. Usually, if you don't know how to tame colors like red, orange, and yellow, then it's gonna throw a lot of things off, which is why you see a lot of pictures with muted colors like black, brown, and gray if you incorporate hot colors. So I chose to challenge myself, which is why with this one, I went with a little bit of green and I went with a lot of teal because it helps to mute some of the warmer colors. In the United States of America, we celebrate something called Memorial Day. And usually Memorial Day is the last weekend in May. And then shortly before the summer ends, you have something called Labor Day. Labor Day is during the first weekend of September. Because Memorial Day was right around the corner, I decided to switch things up. A lot of people think that with Memorial Day, it's the start of summer. Because summer was about to begin, it was time for me to warm up the color palette. This is the reason why I chose the palette that I did with the one I just showed y'all. But in actuality, I wanted to do something a little bit further because I had a few things left over. So last week, I spoke to y'all about sustainability at a great length. I talked about the 4 elements of earth, wind, fire, and water. Well, with sustainability, there's a lot of other things that you need to consider. In some situations with artwork, I would have things that are left over. So some people may ask me, Drew, well, if you have things left over, what do you do with them? I don't just throw them away. I use it. I use the stuff that I have used in past artwork. It makes things a little bit more creative that way. It ties everything up into a very beautiful package. In the last piece of artwork that I've done, you've noticed that there was a very loud color of red, an orange, some teal, and then you had a lime green. So I had a few of these left over. These are some newspaper tubes that I've painted. This is the pumpkin orange, and I've got lime. Instead of throwing them away, I thought of something a little bit more creative. I should have done this picture, this 3-in-1, during the time of Easter. But you know what? It just popped into my mind, and I just felt like doing it anyway. In some situations, some people would bring reusable bags to farmers markets. Bags like this. These bags are sold on my Etsy page. Link is going to be in the description. I have a lot of these bags, and I have them in 7 different colors. Going back to what is sold at these farmers markets, one of the things that is sold are fresh carrots. They're a very bright orange color, and then they have green lettuce shoots that come from the top of them. So why don't I take some of the colors that I've used from the last picture and implement them to something brand new? So in the next 3-in-1 that I'm gonna do for y'all, I'm gonna use the orange, I'm gonna use the lime green, and I'm also gonna put in little cute bunnies. So if y'all wanna join in with me, it's all good. Go ahead and pull up a chair, get some paint brushes, get an empty palette, and let's get cracking. So the first color that I'm gonna be using is the lime green, very bright lime green. Then for the carrots, of course, they're gonna be orange. And you know, I've seen some carrots that were purple. I've seen some carrots that were white. But for this picture, I'm just gonna stick with orange. And then in some cases with the tops of the carrots, there'll be a little bit of dark green. There's a little bit of, it's been a minute since I've used this green, but I shake it up and it's all good. And to make sure things are a little bit more calmer, I've got off-white. If you don't have off-white, it's all good. All you need is a majority of plain white and just a touch of yellow. Then I'm going to show y'all a few of the secondary colors that I have. They're not going to be as important, but just for some of the small details, they're going to mean a lot. So for the secondary colors, I've got this muted brown right here. It's not like, oh my God, it's brown. It's a very light brown. It's also a good color for a tree or a fence. Then you also have a dark umber brown. Yep, this is some really earthy stuff. And of course, just to make things subtle and dark, black. I don't have like a tickle me pink on me, but this bright magenta will do. If I mix in some of that off-white, it'll do the trick. Typically, my 3-in-1 pictures are 22 by 12. At least the big picture is. This is a 22 by 12 frame. As for the two smaller ones, they're 8 by 8. So I got them right here. As far as the specifications for the big picture, the one that's like the main picture with the flower and the insect, or the flower and the animal, the long piece that goes right here, I've measured this one out to 18 inches. Then you have the smaller one that's on the top. This one's 12. 18 inches, 12 inches. That way, if you take the whole length of this side right here, it's 22 inches in total. On my big picture, I've put 2-inch notches on the inner sides. Those 2-inch notches are gonna mean a lot a little bit later, because that's where I put the newspaper tubes. That's where I glue them in so that they look kind of like a lattice. The same thing with some of the smaller ones. I would put 2-inch notches around the sides. So that's where I glue in the lattice. Have you seen those little flowers that grow on wooden pallets and it looks pretty when it climbs up? That's the kind of illusion that I'm trying to get at with my 3-in-1s. So I'm just gonna end the video right here, and then I'm gonna roll into part 2 tomorrow. So at this time, if this is your first time watching my videos, or if you like the content that I put in, subscribe right down below. I'm also gonna include the link to my Etsy page and my Instagram. So until next time, I'll see y'all later.